All right, folks, we are live. It's the Info Warrior this Tuesday, June 2nd, 2009. We're going to be taking your calls, 866-582-9933. And in the second hour, we're going to have both Luke Radowski and Manny Badillo of wearechange.org out of New York City on to discuss their latest confrontation with the senator out of New York, the woman who replaced Hillary Clinton. We played the video on the air yesterday. We're probably going to play that again today. Lots of videos to play for you yet again on the Info Warrior. I despise Glenn Beck probably more than most disingenuous news personalities, if you will. However, he was good enough recently to have a member of campaignforliberty.org on his program where she was portrayed in a positive light. And she got a lot of really good things out there. She talked about Campaign for Liberty. She talked about the fact that we need to hold the government accountable. She said some very intelligent things about the Federal Reserve System and why they needed to be audited. Actually covered 1207. There's a couple mainstream news outlets that have covered it once. And I think this is the first time I saw Glenn Beck cover it. I know one of the main guys out of CNN also covered it. That clip coming up this hour. Now, I'm not quite sure what to make of this story about Jay Rockefeller. We just checked into it, and I thought I was sure because I've been reporting on it. Jay Rockefeller sponsored the Cybersecurity Act that's currently in the House. Now, we've been focusing on that and the Cyberbullying Act, which is being promoted by none other than pop sensation Hannah Montana. Now, there's some articles out there I'm being sent. Rockefeller cautions about administrative cybersecurity paranoia. West Virginia Senator Jay Rockefeller has slammed two proposed bills that would step up monitoring of the internet by the government. Calling the internet development a pinnacle of information age, he lamented the worries about security could use back to pieces of paper. Both the Bush and Obama administrations had indicated the internet attacks threaten America more than terrorists in airplanes. Yeah, well, how about government black ops in airplanes? Those are the real terrorists that were in the airplanes, sir. Under the right hacking scenario, internet traders can conceivably disrupt or seize control of electrical grids, defense installations, or banking transactions. However, the West Virginia senator believes that the two bills are too restrictive on freedom and civil liberties, which has led to the net's freewheeling expressive content. Now, I'm not sure what to make of this. This could just be Orwellian doublespeak, him coming out against possibly the Cyberbullying Act and a separate Cybersecurity Act that I'm unaware of. We're going to look into it, and not his own, and saying his is the right bill. See, getting things done incrementally, saying, yeah, those other two are bad, but this one's good. Folks, I don't know how many times I have to explain it in this program, but you are already being tracked, traced, and databased. Let me say it again. Tracked, traced, and databased through everything you do on the internet, through everything you do on your cell phone. It's open. It's out there. AT&T versus Hepting, brought up in January of 2006. Yes, over 3 years ago, and still no resolution. It was thrown out of the federal courts. It's in appellate court right now. They used national security powers to get it thrown out, basically. Said, no, we're the government. We're your gods. We'll do what we want. That's how we roll. And the Bush administration, although they did it illegally, has granted themselves retroactive immunity. That means immunity from all crimes they've done before in the past, which is absolutely ludicrous. Meanwhile, people are ninnying about Leahy and his Truth Commission, which would be nothing but softballs anyway. I mean, Leahy is part of the problem. Pat Leahy is not a good person. I mean, I guess he's, a little bit better of scum than some of the rest, but that doesn't mean that he's not scum. He's scum. Straight up. Learn to live it, not to love it. It's the Info Warrior with Jason Bermas. Like I said, we'll be taking your calls, 866-582-9933. Go check out Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv, and my Bobby Bloggins, theinfowarrior.com. I want to cover this one before I forget about it. I get a lot of tips. I wasn't able to go through every single email that I got over the weekend, and today I got down to about the last 20 over on my MySpace, went through my Facebook as well. I just printed up this message that somebody sent me who's working outside of Camp Shelby, who's asking the question, is this a brand new civilian camp? And if you could bring up the pictures that he sent me, Jaron, they're the photo bucket pictures. They're from a distance, but there are a couple pictures where you can see at least the facility. And, I just want to read what he said. I mean, I can't confirm or deny this. Over to the left, the first 3 or 4 on the top, you can kind of see the facility right there. And I know that you got all those cool little zoom techniques, Jaron, so if we could put those up on the screen. There we go. As I read this, recently I did a job outside of Camp Shelby, south of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We were pouring ANC, cutting a concrete slab at the Air Force Little Landing Strip right outside the base. We passed a sign that read, "No cameras or video beyond this point," which I could not take a pic of because there was a guard Humvee with a 50 cal riding by, and turned a corner on a road that had been closed to public traffic. What do we see sprawled out before us? A brand spanking new detention facility. Brand new concrete walls, freshly poured and placed, brand new tents, brand new FEMA-type trailers, brand new porta-johns, brand new basketball goals, and 8 brand new, not a scratch on them, guard towers. And there's one of the towers right there on the screen. This facility may have some other function as it does resemble some of the quick temporary bases in the Middle East that soldiers put up. I am not saying that this is some sort of FEMA camp, but it is fishy. The walls were only about 15 to 20 feet high, and there was no razor wire suggesting it was not for dangerous or violent criminals. There was more than one entrance and exit, and I cannot say there was any special means security surrounding them. There is a couple of curiosities, however. It was not within the main gates of the base. If you knew what you were doing, you could drive right up to it. The road it was on was not at all well kept, but it looked like an abandoned rural road. Camp Shelby is a training facility, but there are plenty of barracks and military housings for new recruits. There were several Humvees also parked there with full gun turrets. My coworker, who is ex-military and not particularly in the know, said, and I quote, "It looks like one of them darn civilian camps you keep harping about, Joseph." So, again, these are the pics. I don't think we're going to end up doing a story on InfoWars about this until we, get confirmation on what it is. But send me the pictures, send me the email. Definitely worth checking out and talking about. I want to get into some tech news. We talked about yesterday what nanotechnology really is, these micro robots that really mimic, small bacteria and other organisms. And they're so small. For instance, the one that we covered yesterday was a sperm-like nanotechnology device with a corkscrew built so it could dive bomb, basically, bacteria and get in there. And it was, I believe, 1/100th the size of a single sperm. I mean, that's how tiny these things get. And I just wanted to read a couple of these new drones. Reconnaissance robots to the rescue. Let's see. An Adena company sells miniature robots to police and the military and let them see dangers before facing them. These are little reconnaissance robots. They're very, very tiny. It's basically a camera with wheels. And, it just shows you how far we're coming along. At first glance, the Recon Scout IR looks like a small dumbbell. But even at a mere 1.25 pounds, this robot does some heavy lifting. Why don't you scroll down, because you can barely, in that picture, on the bottom right-hand side, that is the little robot they're talking about, that little black blur there. If you scroll down, there's an actual picture of it, Jaron. Built by Adena-based Recon Robots. There it is right there. The robot transmits video images of dangerous environments before police and troops enter them. It is used by police SWAT teams to defuse violent situations and the military to assess hostile situations from a safe distance. Last year, Burnsville police officers used a scout to locate a person who was armed, suicidal, threatening officers, and barricaded in a condominium complex. And this thing is tiny, 1.2 pounds. You're not going to notice that. It's about 1/5 the size of the little drones that you see going around in Star Wars. You know which ones I'm talking about? The one that Chewbacca's like, and it runs away. We're at the point where we have smaller robots than that being used by the police. I just want people to be aware of it. We are in a technocracy. Things are getting more advanced. In fact, we're going to be reporting on lasers tonight. That's right, laser beams. It's not just for kids anymore, folks. Where is this laser beam story? Yes, Laser Energetics launches Dazer Laser non-lethal laser weapon. This is out of New Jersey. Laser Energetics, developer of strategic lasers for applications in industry, science, medicine, homeland security, and the military, launched its Dazer laser light fighting technologies, non-lethal laser weapons to fight enemies and threats. Lasers Energetics had a primary focus on its Alexandrite laser technology. Robert D. Battis, founder and CEO of Laser Energetics, said the weapon is humanitarian and will save the lives of both the enforcer and the threat at long ranges. No longer will the enforcer have to risk their lives to bring a threat in closer to them or in order to engage them, which puts the enforcer's life at risk. See, they've got the heat weapons. What this does is it attacks your eyes. You're blinded. You can't see. All of a sudden you start getting dizzy and nauseated and you become immobilized.